the 6th year in a row, the USA Cycling Professional Championships come to Greenville, South Carolina, a charming southern town with a vibrant health and fitness vibe. Greenville's terrain provides the perfect landscape for a weekend of professional racing that's sure to please today's hungry racing fans. Welcome to the Greenville Hospital System USA Cycling Professional Championship Summary Show.
I always look forward to this race. It'll be my 4th time racing the US Pro Championships. You know, I love the Appalachian Mountains, the barbecue, Southern hospitality's awesome fan base, Southern Bells, and I even love the suffocating humidity and watching the guys from the West Coast suffer, and you know, it feels like my home turf, so I look forward to it, and to return as a defending champion is it's a huge honor and one I look forward to very much.
First, we'll take you to the exciting and fast-paced time trial championships, where last year's youngest ever winner, Taylor Phinney, will attempt to hold on to his title.
My time in Greenville in 2010 was one of the highlights of my year, one of the best weekends probably of my life. The time trial field this year is really stacked and is full of a lot of potential even for the future of American cycling with some younger guys. So I'm excited to be here and hoping I can defend my title.
Later, Tour de France veteran Kevin Livingston joins the ride for cancer research in this year's Stars and Stripes Challenge. And finally, we'll highlight the grueling 115-mile road race championships, where cycling superstar and hometown hero George Hincapie will once again race for the Stars and Stripes jersey.
I had hoped when I first signed professional that I would do 10 years as a pro, and here I am 18 years later, and you know, still able to race with the best in the world on my day. You know, I'm not saying every day, but on my good days for sure. And still getting respect from these younger guys that are the best in the world right now. And really, you know, especially in particular the guys on my team really look for me for, you know, help throughout the season. I mean, it's such a hard sport, so demanding. You know, if you don't have the experience, you don't know how to deal with it. So I feel like I have a lot to give in that aspect. I'd love to win again. I'd love to win a 3rd time here in Greenville. Those moments have been probably some of the most special in my whole career, being able to win in front of family and friends. But if not, if I can't win, then I would like to help one of my teammates win. And I think we brought a very strong team here, and we have the potential to have you know, several guys up there at the finish.
Will cycling's veterans rise to the occasion, or will this sport's youth reign supreme? Join us for all the thrilling twists and turns, spills and thrills, and exciting races to the finish. The Greenville Hospital System USA's Cycling Professional Championship Summary Show, brought to you by Greenville Hospital System, TD Bank, USA Cycling, and Amgen. This is the 2011 Individual Time Trial Championships, presented by Duke Energy. This prestigious Race Against the Clock event takes place at the Clemson University International Center for Automotive Research. One by one, the roster of 34 riders race 3 laps of the 6.9-mile course, each trying to beat the clock and earn the honor of wearing the Stars and Stripes jersey. The 20.7-mile race provides a unique experience for both fans and athletes.
The time trial we have here in Greenville is very non-traditional, especially for the United States. Normally we have very flat, straight, out and back type time trial courses. This is more of a European style circuit. A lot of turns. We actually do multiple laps here. We can do thanks to the number of athletes we have and the quality of the field. makes it much more exciting for the fans, and it's interesting for the athletes because they really know where they stand throughout the event as they come through. They get a split on the people in front behind, which is pretty unique.
Last year's youngest ever champion, Taylor Phinney, rides again in an attempt to hold on to his title.
My time in Greenville in 2010 was one of the highlights of my year, one of the best weekends probably of my life. You know, I won the time trial on Saturday, and Ben King, my teammate at the time, won the road race on Sunday. So this place, these races, these courses have a really special place in my heart, and you know, I'm excited to be back.
Perennial time trial champ Dave Zabriskie is back this year and is aiming to reclaim his spot atop the podium.
Well, Zabriskie's had a great year so far. He won the time trial Tour of Romandy and also at the Tour of California last week. He's definitely on good form, and he has won this time trial before. So that's a pretty big record to go against for me. Him not being here last year, you know, it's hard to compare my time to his. But you know, we'll see. It's all one day. We've got guys like Tom Zerbel who are back, TJ Van Garderen, who is a very formidable time trialist.
Other riders to watch are Adrian Hedgevery, Matt Boucher, David Williams, Brent Bookwalter. Each of these pros have proven to be strong time trial finishers. With longtime competitor and last year's silver medalist Levi Leipheimer not competing this year, the question is, who will win? Will the young rise again, or will veteran skills pay off? There's no question this year's field is stacked, largely due to the scheduling, allowing for a day of rest in between the two big races.
The past couple of years that I've done this race, I have not done the time trial, mainly because the day before the road race. And I kind of feel like with the time trial, if you don't have a real legitimate shot of winning or being on the podium, you know, I don't have a whole lot of ambition to do it because it's the national championship, so you want the jersey. But if you don't win the jersey, you know, it doesn't do a whole lot for you or for the team. So historically, I've enjoyed some time trials and done some decent time trials in my career. So I wanted to support the race and, you know, do the time trial and also, you know, give myself a shot as well.
Chase Pinkham of Salt Lake City, Utah, is the first rider to start with the other 33 riders to follow. Pinkham gets out to a quick start and sets the pace for the day with a time of 42 minutes, 21 seconds. That's the time to beat. Here comes former time trial junior world champion Danny Pate of Colorado Springs. He's coming off two impressive top 20 finishes at this year's Tour of California. Next up is Tom Zerbel from Boulder, Colorado, as he gets his shot at the fastest time. He's been on the podium here before. He's a great time trialist. So we'll see what he puts up on the board today. And here comes last year's USA Road Race champion, Ben King. He's back this year, not only defending his title, but also aiming for a top finish today at the time trial. Brent Bookwalter, who won the 2006 U23 Time Trial Championship, races today for Team BMC, making him a teammate of hometown hero George Hencappy. Bookwalter hopes to bring the time trial title back to his hometown of Athens, Georgia. Up next, we'll see the action and thrilling results of the 2011 Individual Time Trial Championships presented by Duke Energy. Welcome back to the 2011 U.S. Professional Time Trial Championships. The riders are geared up and the bikes are checked in. Before the start of the Time Trial Championship, each cyclist must make sure all of the requirements are met for the race, both with the dimensions of the bike and the weight of the bike, before they head into the start house and line up for their individual start times. The last wave of riders is in the start house. And here comes Iowa native Jason McCartney with Team Radio Shack. David Williams knows a little something about speed. He's from the birthplace of speed, Indianapolis, Indiana. Of course, today he's trying to have the fastest time on 2 wheels instead of 4. Coming down the final stretch of riders, Matt Boucher and Dave Zabriskie prepare for their individual start times. Matt Boucher has been putting up some impressive finishes at several races around the country. He posted a 7th place finish at the Tour of Utah and is hoping for a top position today. But he's going to have to beat this guy, Dave Zabriskie. He's back this year and looking to take back the title he's owned 5 different times. 4 of them were back-to-back wins from 2006 to 2009. He's no stranger to this race. He knows how to win. And after his first lap, he posts a new course record for the opening lap with a time of 13 minutes, 10 seconds, giving him a very comfortable lead with only the defending time trial champion, Taylor Phinney, left to race. After Zabriskie's second lap, he's just smoking this course with a split time of 26 minutes, 42 seconds. He continues to put separation between him and the rest of the field. And as he crosses the finish line, he gets big cheers from the crowd. There's only one rider left, Taylor Phinney. He has his work cut out for him if he wants to beat Zabriskie's time. He knows Zabriskie's first split is at 13:10, so he'll know early on whether or not he's going to be able to keep the pace for the final 2 circuits. So, with all 34 riders, it's official. Dave Zabriskie takes the top spot with an impressive finish today, posting a time of 40 minutes, 23 seconds, just shy of the course record he set here in 2009. So, here are the top finishers. With a bronze medal, it's Matthew Boucher from Team Radio Shack, posting a time of 41 minutes, 22 seconds. Second on the podium with a silver medal is Tom Zerbel. He had a great race today with a time of 40 minutes, 54 seconds. And the king reclaims his crown. Dave Zabriskie wins his 6th U.S. Time Trial Championships and will once again don the Stars and Stripes jersey for the next year.
Yeah, it's great to be back. It's a good place for the race. I know the course. People really support it, and it feels good to win. Yeah, this it's one of my favorites. I really enjoy wearing the jersey over in Europe and here, and kind of it's just a special feeling. There's a few spots where you can go really hard and make up time, and there's a few spots where you can get recovery. And I just do kind of a mixture of both, so I can go really hard when I have to and catch my breath a little bit when I can. And there's a few turns, and there's little tricks here and there, but it comes down to just going as hard as you can go.
When we come back, we'll showcase TD Bank and their commitment to the community of Greenville, South Carolina.
I'm Allison Starnes of Peanut Butter & Co. 2012, and I chose SRAM.
I'm Andrew Talansky of Team Garmin Cervelo, and I chose SRAM.
A race is where you're going to go really fast. You won't go any faster anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the sport of cycling. It's more about fun, it's about lifestyle, commitment.
Cycling holds a really special place in my heart. It always will.
Ted King of Team Liquid Gas Cannondale, and I chose SRAM.
I'm Nick Nijers of Team Saxo Bank Vanguard. I'm a Tour of Flanders winner, and I chose SRAM.
Ja, I think one of the great things that comes from the USA Cycling Championships is the number of people that get a chance to see the great place where we live.
It's an unusual event in that it's not like normal sports events where you sit in a stadium. In this case, of course, you can be in your own backyard, your own front yard, or you can come to beautiful downtown Greenville on the sidewalks and enjoy the festival atmosphere.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2011 U.S. Pro Cycling Championships presented by TD Bank. 115 miles on tap, downtown Greenville, South Carolina, the location, and 90 of America's best cyclists ready to tackle the feared Paris Mountain climb in what should be an exciting day of racing. Big names in the race today, including defending champion Ben King, local hero George Hincapie, and many more, ready to hit out on the roads of South Carolina in a big test on Memorial Day. Here you go. This is what you're seeing right here is this shakeup that we've been trying to watch for. We're watching for the right magic selection to go free. It often takes 4, 5, 6 chances before you see a break finally make it stick. And that might be what we're watching here as we see 5 riders, soon to be 6, forming at the front of the field as multiple athletes trying to make an initial difference here in the race. Okay, so 7 riders at the front of our race. They've got about a 50-second gap. I would imagine that that's grown upward into a minute plus by this point. They are heading toward Paris Mountain. This will be the first of 4 ascents. So looking at the composition of this breakaway, these 7-rider breakaway features 2 Bissell riders, 1 Kelly Benefit, 1 Kenda, 1 Exergy, 1 Janus, and 1 Jelly Belly. What does that mean for BMC? What does that mean for HTC? What does that mean for Radio Shack? What does that mean for Leaky Gas Cannondale? Those are the 4 really strong teams, and just behind them, United Healthcare. Those 5 teams are not represented. That's very interesting. What that means is it's actually pretty good news for most of them, is that they can share the chase duties in trying to bring this 7-man group back. All right, so we have the 8-man group now. It is Jason McCartney. The battle axe has made the front group. That is such good news for Ben King and Matthew Boucher, his teammates, as McCartney has a very strong wherewithal in a race like today. They are going to be ecstatic to see him representing their squad up front. Big names here that we're going to start talking about here. Brent Bookwalter, one of our favorites ahead of the race today. He is up front in this 7-man group. Tim Duggan, probably more of a dark horse, but a rider certainly capable, coming off scintillating form at the Tour of California, where he supported Peter Sagan as part of that Liquigas Gas attack. 95 is in the race today. David Williams of Bissell. He made the first group of 7. He's part of the second 7-man selection as well. Jesse Anthony of Kelly Benefit squad. Really strong rider. We'll talk about Jesse in greater detail as we continue on, but a powerhouse rider as part of that group. Phil Guyman bridged up solo, so showing some power out of his legs to be a part of that group. And Quinn Cuff as well from Team Exergy is there. Last but not least, the 8th man is Robert Bush of the Chipotle Development Squad. So that's your 8-man group. The big names being McCartney, Bookwalter, and Duggan. Also honorable mention Phil Guyman. So those are the 4 riders really that strike fear into the rest of the field here, and we'll see what they can do with this little gap that they're nurturing. I think they were up over 30 seconds last we heard, and we'll see if they can't continue to grow that. This could be a very dangerous move there. So here you go. Now you've got a breakaway I think that the main field behind is relatively satisfied with, at least at this point. You've got a 1 minute and 45-second gap for this group of 8 up front. That is big time. They are going to be very heartened by that as they come down toward the finishing straight here. We're going to watch to see what kind of expressions they have in their face. I would imagine straight concentration here as they realize this is a golden opportunity to create the decisive breakaway of the day. As long as they work together, there's no reason to think that this gap can't be at more than 2 minutes before they hit Paris Mountain. So great news for these 8. They will be very pleased with the update as they get it from our officiating crew out on course. Now, again, with lack of race radios, they may not even know exactly where their break stands. They'll get updates from our motos, which will actually come up manually with a board and display the break time for them. So they'll be looking for that here in the coming moments, getting an idea of where they stand. And we see our 8 coming to the finish line now. This is our first view of our group of 8. And man, oh man, they are moving as they head toward the finish line for the first time. They're ready to head back out toward Paris Mountain. So we see a little bit of a decrease now in the gap, listening to official race radio, and their communications team is telling us that the gap has gone down to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Not real good news. You know, you don't want to hear that. If you're part of this break, you want that gap to grow, not lessen. That tells you that hard work at the front by HTC and United Healthcare is starting to pay off right here as we wait to see what will happen as they roll back toward Greenville. Again, history is against this break. History tells us that this break will not survive, but don't tell it to this guy. Don't tell it to Tim Duggan at the front. He's going to drive as hard as he can until they are caught. It's a never say die attitude that is essential in pro cycling. You must never give up until you are caught, and that's what you'll see here. This is an all-in break effort. None of the guys in this break are planning on coming back into the field and then making another play for victory. Now is the time for these guys. If they're going to win, they must stay away from the main field, and that's what you're going to see reflected as they continue on. There's no let-up in the legs of these 6 athletes.
What would a racing town be without the room to ride? Greenville, South Carolina is home to some amazing riding trails. And the newly minted Swamp Rabbit Trail is something that sets Greenville apart. With 13.5 miles of paved trail through the heart of Greenville County, the trail spans across quiet, tranquil, rustic areas to bustling urban parks. City leaders who helped see the trail through are being lauded for their vision to create a place that would encourage people to exercise. Every day, runners, walkers, and bikers enjoy the Swamp Rabbit Trail. When we return, we'll follow the winners as they cross the finish line.
Was our group of 6. Duggan was first wheel coming across the line. Phil Guyman just behind him. Sitting third wheel is Cuff, then Bookwalter, then Jesse Anthony, and bringing up the rear, Jason McCartney. What a workhorse, McCartney, as they head out on their 3rd lap here. Good work being done by these 6. Still over a 2-minute gap. Some pretty thick foliage there that our riders are traversing through as they get to the top of this Paris Mountain climb. And there is our lead group. So it's Duggan, Anthony, McCartney, Bookwalter, and the 5th rider in that group looks to be Guyman. It is Guyman. So you've got Guyman, who has maintained contact. He's still up front. Quinn Keogh, after an amazing effort as a part of this 6-man break, has gone away. His day looks to be over at the front of the race. And man, Duggan looks strong. The short stature of Duggan, well suited to climbing hills just like this, and he's showing the way for this now group of 5 riders. Guyman is definitely in difficulty at the back of this group. He definitely doesn't have a whole lot left. He's totally unwilling to try to come around these guys, and you can see having a difficult time holding the wheel of Bookwalter in 4th position. McCartney looks good as he's out of the saddle and taking a look at things up front. Anthony, too, looking very strong as we head into the final lap, the final long lap of this race. We had a break group of 7 that started things off today, comprised of various teams, most of them domestic. That was quickly absorbed on the first time up Paris Mountain, and they were replaced by a group of 8 that was eventually paired to 6 that has now gone down to 4. Meanwhile, behind McCartney's got nothing left. Bookwalter is steady. Jesse Anthony has jumped and is making a play for glory. You gotta love this. A domestic rider putting the hurt on the Pro Tour right here as he heads up Paris Mountain, shoulders rolling. That's a bad sign. That tells you that
he is at his max, that he is using his upper body to rock his bike back and forth and will himself up this climb. Meanwhile, behind, we see he's got about 10 bike lengths. He is growing his lead right here as Anthony is making a solo play for glory. The motos come up, following him close by, the cameramen and the media alike, looking at this American hero as he approaches the midway point of this Paris Mountain climb. What a move by Jesse Anthony as he looks over at his pro team companions and says, so long, farewell, bye-bye. I'm going to go up top on my own, and he has done just that. Look at that cadence as he's probably about 80 RPMs right now and pushing hard, the shoulders rolling as we mentioned earlier. That's a sure sign of maximum exertion, as meanwhile behind, Duggan, Bookwalter, and McCartney must be wondering what the heck is going on. It's not going to work out for him today, but what an amazing performance by that rider as he laid it all on the line in Paris Mountain. Now it's down to the Pro Tour teams as Radio Shack sits up front driving the pace. BMC is there with 2 riders. Radio Shack has 2 riders. Lee Kugas has 1 rider in this break, and rounding it out is the HTC youngster TJ Van Garderen. Let's not forget, Van Garderen was top 10 at the Dauphiné Libre, which is really a preview of July's Tour de France. This is a very strong rider, more than capable of winning this race. So we have many of the main protagonists at the front of this bike race right now. It's anyone's game, and it could come down at this point to who's the most tactically savvy. Now, Likugas up front. Is this Ted King? Or is that Duggan? It looks like 41. That's Tim Duggan has still remained at the front of this race. That is a gritty ride right there because he was part of that breakaway, and he still has the guts to lead this trio of riders home right now. Tim Duggan, you got to tip your hat to that guy. If he doesn't get it done today, it's not for lack of trying. He has been active as much or more than any other rider in this race. So we're 5 up front at this point. Jesse Anthony has exploded after an amazing performance on Paris Mountain. Meanwhile, this is where it's at the front of the race. Tim Duggan first wheel. Right behind him, TJ Van Garderen of the HTC squad. Then you follow the BMC team of Brett Bookwalter pulling off to his left. Right to his right, that looks like Boucher, unless it's McCartney, and then Hincapie's in this group. So it's Hincapie and Bookwalter for BMC. Boucher and McCartney for Radio Shack. Duggan for Likugas, Van Garderen for HTC, and this is what you'll expect to see. One after the another, BMC and Radio Shack should be attacking this group one after another until one of them gets free. I wonder if this is Bookwalter using the very last bit of his energy to see about if he can't get a gap. It ain't going to happen for him as he is closed back by Radio Shack there. Man, what a ride by the Pro Tour teams in this race as they have just timed it to perfection. They realized what was going on. They were patient, and now that the race enters into the most important period, you see all of them at the front, almost as if it was easy, but it sure wasn't, as all of these riders had to use grit and gall to get where they are today. 5 at the front, and I'd say a cell of about 15, maybe 30 to 45 seconds behind them. So still a lot of uncertainty here as this front group now looks like it's grown to 8. So it was 6, now it's 8. BMC first wheel, Radio Shack second, then Hincapie in third wheel there. Right behind, Likugas in fourth wheel. That's our status update right now as it stands. And they approach this little tiny incline. We should see them in about 4 or 5 minutes come around that final turn. We'll get to get a close look on the faces of these riders to see how they're feeling. You can learn a lot by the face of a pro cyclist, especially in the penultimate moments. And that's what we're going to try to learn here as they're out of the saddle again. Look at this good little group of riders here, as there are 3 BMC riders at the front of this race right now. That is good news for them, as they've got 3 cards to play versus Radio Shack's 2, versus Likugas's 1, and HTC's Van Garderen, who only has himself in this group. So BMC with the numbers, odds are with them at this point. But the X factor is who feels the best, because you can't tell that by just the color of the jersey. You're only going to know it by the action in the legs, and we're going to have to watch real close here, as we might see a rider jettison away sooner rather than later. All of these guys doing equal work, all of these guys really smart, riding intelligently, none more willing than the other to empty the tank at this point. It's looking increasingly likely that we'll go maybe to the second or final lap to determine a winner as we come around the turn here. These are your 4 leaders. Ted King wetting down the back, trying to stay cool as we see him pull through. There they are right there. Van Garderen first wheel, Boucher second wheel, Hincapie, and then Ted King. Those are the biggies, the heavy hitters of our race today. Hincapie needs to stay cool and hope that he'll get help in closing back attacks, because they'll likely be looking at Hincapie to close down any attacks as they go. So let's see what we get here heading into the final half lap. Ted King takes a long look at his competition. Look at him looking over at each rider. How do you look? How do you look? Who looks the strongest? Who do I want to follow when we get into the final 1,000 meters? That might be what is going through his mind right now. Meanwhile, behind, up ahead, Boucher into first position. At some point, you gotta go. At some point, you gotta go. If you're King, if you're Boucher. Van Garderen, also not known as a sprinter, but after Hincapie, he probably has the second best sprint in that group. But eventually, you just gotta believe that one of these riders is gonna try to go solo. Again, now being on the final lap of this race, it now comes down to sharing your energy. There's a flick of the arm by Boucher, imploring his breakaway mate to come through, and Van Garderen does. He comes through there in the drops and setting the pace now for this team of 4 riders. Again, kind of an unwritten truce here amongst these 4 riders as they all work together. But eventually, again, they've got to attack each other. One or the other has got to go. With a rider as potent and dangerous as George Hincapie in this break group, you just got to believe that one of these other 3 riders is going to try to make a solo play. At what point it'll happen is anybody's guess. But again, it's a tough situation to go to the line in a sprint against George Hincapie. He started his career as a sprinter, back in the 90s and actually late 80s, and now has kind of transitioned into an all-around specialist, a guy that can climb, a guy that can time trial a little bit, and a guy that can sprint still. So by far the most dangerous rider of the 4 in this group, and the one with the best finishing sprint. But the 3 other riders, depending on their freshness, you never know what you're going to get out of them. And again, if it's not Hincapie who wins, then whoever it is, it'll be their first championship, and you better believe that will be a career-defining moment for all of them. Despite the fact that there are different moments in their career, Ted King probably mid-career at this point, whereas Van Garderen and Boucher really just beginning their foray into professional cycling, and what a way to begin it with the Stars and Stripes jersey on their back for the 2011-2012 season. And we'll see what we get here as we are again on the final half lap. These are your 4 biggest protagonists thus far in the race, and these are the guys that are going to go to the line for the victory. We'll see who's got it. As we wait to see our athletes coming through, this is just a view of our chase group. With 1 lap to go, our chase group will pull through. And we see them leading the Jelly Belly squad, pulling through that final chase group. Great ride by all of those athletes there, as they'll get classified on the day, and they will get a finishing position in the history books here, and that's as important as ever for most of these athletes. Now Van Garderen at the front out of the saddle. Boy, he still looks really strong, really fresh, as just behind him George Hincapie. Also looking the part of a prepared rider, looking like a rider who came to this race ready to try to win it, and he's in a very good position to just do that here in what will be the swan song. Next year will be the last year for George Hincapie, and what a way to go out as the U.S. Pro Champion. That would be something else, I'm sure, for him. And again, so there's Van Garderen again out of the saddle. He's really riding strong at the front. A pretty long pull for Van Garderen here. Surprising to see that. Perhaps just trying to hurt his competition as much as he possibly can as they are getting toward the finishing straight here. This is going to be it. As we see him pulling around the final turn, it is going to be a 4-man battle for the victory as Van Garderen starts in the back. Up front, it is Boucher opening up the sprint. Hincapie's going to go free up the right side of the road. He looks really strong. It's going to be hard to beat George Hincapie as he's going to come to the line. It looks like he's got a 3-bike lead. As Boucher comes around, doesn't have enough for him. It's going to be a very close finish. Too close to call. Too close to call, as we will go to the photo finish to see who took top honors there. I'll tell you, neither rider seems extremely confident that they won. They were both looking over at each other, wondering what the heck happened, who took the victory. Too close to call there as Hincapie opens the sprint maybe just a shade too early, and they go to the line. Boucher and Hincapie one-on-one. Too close to call. We'll wait for the photo finish in what was an amazing stretch run. waiting for the rest of our field to finish. This is for 5th place on the day, so still a lot of prestige up for grabs here as they'll come to the line for 5th place honors. And it looks like it's going to be one of the real cyclist riders that might have it. No, he's swamped, totally swamped. 5th place, looks like it might go to Kelly Benefit rider there, not positive, or Garmin rider. Can't be positive of who that is at the moment, but again, classification forthcoming in what was an amazing, amazing race. So photo finish scenario here, and our officiating crew taking a close look at the situation to see who won. And riders here that we see still on course, still finishing up their U.S. Pro Championship. Man, what a performance here by all of our athletes in what was another stellar edition of the 2011 U.S. Pro Championship. Yeah, and so we have an official result on the day. The officials go to the official photo finish, and it is the youngster, Matthew Boucher, who will be your 2011 U.S. Pro Champion as he barely edges Big George Hincapie to take his first USA Championship. What a performance by Boucher as he gets it done against really a guy considered to have a better sprint than him, and he uses that last little bit of energy to get around Hincapie with a bike throw. And again, officially, Matthew Boucher, your 2011 U.S. Pro Champion on a photo finish result. Wow.
Stay with us for exclusive insight from 2011 road race champion Matt Boucher, plus the Stars and Stripes check presentation and highlights from the National Hand Cycling Criterium.
A race is where you're going to go really fast. You won't go any faster anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the sport of cycling. It's more about fun, it's about lifestyle, commitment.
Cycling holds a really special place in my heart. It always will.
The Greenville Hospital System USA's Cycling Professional Championship Summary Show. Brought to you by Greenville Hospital System, TD Bank, Amgen, and USA Cycling. Welcome back to the exciting conclusion of the 2011 USA Cycling Professional Road Race Championships, where Matthew Boucher has just won his first gold medal and the right to wear the Stars and Stripes jersey. It's a heartbreaking end for runner-up George Hincapie, who sprinted to the finish with Boucher only to lose his chance to reclaim the road race title by the width of a bicycle tire. Boucher nabbed the win in an incredible photo finish.
It was a team effort, and I can't stress that enough. You know, Jason was up there in the breakaway, and that allowed Ben and myself to just kind of relax in the field a little bit and just keep good position. And then, you know, TJ went hard when the last time up Paris Mountain, and both George and I were on the rivet, and you know, we're glad we caught the break when we did, because if he had gone much longer, I think we might have been just TJ. It's hard to go to the line with George. He's a great rider. He used to be a better sprinter. I think he can still sprint pretty well, and you know, I don't know if you call it luck or what, but you know, I made a move. I was third wheel and come into the last corner, and you know, I just jumped. I figured, why not? I didn't have a much better tactic, and George came around me, and I was able to get on his wheel and regain some momentum, and then just throw the bike at the line, and I got the better today. So yeah, it's really exciting.
The Memorial Day weekend proved to be an exciting time for cycling. The best of this sport's athletes turned out for impressive rides. And all throughout the city of Greenville, fans lined the streets to cheer for their favorites and rooted for those who lagged behind. Many of the country's top hand cyclists were also competing this weekend in the Roger C. Peace U.S. Hand Cycling National Criterium Championships. This annual race is open to men and women with physical disabilities, many of whom are United States military, recently wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan. while others are accomplished athletes, including 6-time U.S. national champion Matt Updike. As the pros will tell you, this road course is hard enough to do with your legs. Just imagine doing it with only your arms. These athletes are both amazing and inspiring, and we salute their accomplishments here this Memorial Day weekend. But race weekend isn't just about competition. It's also about charity. With nearly 400 riders participating in the Stars and Stripes Challenge, more than a dozen of which raised over $500 each, the Palmetto Peloton Project presented a check for $211,000 to Greenville Hospital System's Cancer Center and Amgen's Breakaway for Cancer. And Princella Lee Bridges was named the Leadership Award winner for her work supporting and providing resources for burn victims. She was presented a $2,500 check to her charity, Bridges for Augusta. The weekend also provided the perfect backdrop for families and friends to gather and celebrate the Memorial Day holiday. The energy and excitement they brought to the sidelines was palpable, and the professional cyclists did not disappoint. Some of the biggest names in the sport easily regained their spot at the top, while others just missed out by fractions of time. Overall, the weekend belonged to Matt Boucher, who placed third in the time trial event and earned the gold in the Road Race Championship. The Stars and Stripes jersey is his to wear for the next year, until this race returns to Greenville on Memorial Day 2012, when a new battle will begin. Of course, the USA Pro Cycling race would not be possible without tremendous support from the city of Greenville, South Carolina, and the many sponsors, workers, and volunteers who make it a success.